anywhere that he will actually be the face of the party going into next year's elections. This follows the IFP's decision to shelve its national elective conference indefinitely. Inkatha's extended national council meeting has found that party branches are simply not ready. The conference would have elected a successor to the 90-year-old leader.
The IFP last held a national conference in December 2012. For months now, the party has been preparing for its 35th conference. A date had been set for the end of this month. Over 5,000 delegates from 1,500 branches countrywide were expected to partake. The party had, however, been confronted with numerous challenges. Earlier this year, party leaders were dealing with bogus branches. Sources inside the party also claimed there were growing divisions over preferred candidates. But party leaders deny its factional battles that led to the postponement of the conference.
On Monday last week, several branches and structures advised the NEC that certain constitutional prescripts had been compromised in the preparation state or preparatory stages for the conference. On analysis and on the basis of advice, the NEC found these concerns by branches to be legitimate, further compounding the prospects of a successful conference.
Last year, party leader Mangosuthu Buthelezi announced he would step down after the conference. Provincial Secretary SABC was named as the preferred successor. With the developments, Buthelezi will continue to be at the helm. The IFP says its constitution allows for this.
Inkatha is duty-bound to see through the end of the term of office which he was elected for. And that term will end at.
No new date has been set for the conference, but the party is confident that this will not affect its election preparations. I am Mhlongo, SABC News, Durban.
So I'm there to discuss. We're now joined by the Deputy Chair of the IFP, Albert Mwango. He's live for us from our studios in Durban. Mr. Mwango, does this mean, can we just clarify, that Mangosuthu Buthelezi will be on the ballot box, on the ballot papers next year?
Well, I just want, before you one response to your question, to actually say that it is not the reason why the conference was postponed, that perhaps the party wants the current president of the party, Prince Buthelezi, to be on the ballot box. The fact of the matter is that logistical preparations, which would have made our conference a legitimate and a peaceful one, actually were not completed. You would not have a conference unless you have won the delegates, because the delegates constitute the conference. And you would not have a credible outcome of the conference if you do not actually accredit your delegates. So we had the whole range of processes which had not actually been finished.
So now, my question was, will his face be on the ballot papers? Are you confirming that he will be on the ballot papers?
No. The issue is not whether or not you will be on the ballot. That was my
question, not the issue.
The issue is that we are our preparations are afoot for next year elections. So we have not decided yet who will or who will not be on the ballot paper. That would be the issue that would actually be decided by the conference, which is still very much on the cards.
But what is the likelihood of any sort of conference being rustled up this year or early next year? Time is running out.
Well, we we embarked on the preparations for our conference already last year, and there are processes that are actually spelled out in our constitution, which we had to conform with. And as such, we are at the tail end of our preparations. It just happened that, we were not exactly within the time limits and the time frames that we had set ourselves. Otherwise, we would be having our conference at this coming weekend. But because certain very critical processes had not been finalized, it became necessary that our conference be postponed.
So if this doesn't happen, you will have a 90-year-old leader on the ballot papers who says he doesn't want to lead, he wants to step down. Is the party worried about this?
I think it is unfair to say that Principal Buthelezi does not want to leave. In the first instance,
but he said he wanted
already
to step
in 2006, wanted. No, please. Already in 2006, he wanted to leave, and the party members at the conference in Umlazi pleaded with him to stay on. Even at our conference, our last conference in 2012 in December, he wanted to actually step down, and we asked him to actually please be involved in managing the transition. And this time around, he has made it emphatically clear that he has no intention to continue. But obviously, I'm sure you are not expecting him to simply just drop everything down and jump ship. You know, that is not going to happen. He is still there and is managing the process up to its logical conclusion, which is the conference, which then will be electing the new leadership. I don't actually even understand why why should we make 90 as an issue. I still see flashes in the news, in your television, for instance, of a 100-year president. If he was alive, he would still be flashed around at 100 years. I still see, you know, T-shirts, you know, bearing heads of people who are more than 100 years old. So I don't understand, why do we make an issue over the age?
Well, the IFP in 1994 had 56% of the vote in KwaZulu-Natal. By 2014, you were down to 11%. Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't you worried that if you don't bring in new blood, bring in something different, the shrinkage of your party will continue?
No. That's not the issue. Because since the last local government elections, we have actually winning by-elections in KwaZulu-Natal, almost close to 10 now. And we have been beating ANC, beating the EFF, led by a youngster, beating the Democratic Alliance, led by a youngster. So I don't understand why the age would be a determinant on whether a party performs well or not in the elections.
All right, so the fact is he would like to step down, but this national conference is being delayed, so a new leadership is not in place. When will it happen? How quickly can it happen? Why has it not been able to take place?
Yes, we met firstly last week as a National Council, and we met as a National Executive Committee on Monday, and I presented a status quo report as chairperson of the Daily Management Committee, which is charged with the responsibility to prepare internal conferences. And I actually drew the attention of the leadership to the fact that we were actually not ready as we had actually intended to. Firstly, the delegates, structures had been instructed to submit delegates by the 15th of October, and this did not happen. Only 25% of the structures, and here I'm talking about 1,500 branches, I'm talking about 55 constituencies, I'm talking about 13 districts, I'm talking about 9 provinces. So all of those structures, only 25% of them had submitted delegates. So you obviously cannot have a credible conference if we do not have delegates. And secondly, and some of the structures of the party drew our attention on Monday at our NEC meeting to the fact that there have been serious omission with regard to certain processes as prescribed by our constitution, which had not happened, such as, for instance, our constitution actually directs that party structures
Mr.
should
Mwango, we
actually
have
be
to leave it there. I'm sorry
in
to
the nomination of candidates.
We have to leave it there, but thank you for explaining. And the IFP is saying, no, it's not a done deal that Mangosuthu Buthelezi will be on the ballot papers next year. They're hoping to rustle up that national conference. That was Albert Mwango, the party's deputy chairperson. All right, recovering from the sporting weekend or looking ahead.